that? It's a shout out to the whole Who That Nation. Now who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. Oh, who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. I got that fever, my people. See, we not equal, my people. I'm like that dog saint underneath the steeple, my people. Got Drew Brees, he the feature, and our defense the sequel. The D-line and linebackers, man, they coming to reach ya. Make enemies some believers, cause we overachievers. DBs see 50-50 balls and we call them keepers. Y'all can follow this leader, cause Sean Payton will teach ya.
Hey, what's up, everybody? NewOrleans.Football podcast coming to you live, presented by Sant CPA. And we are broadcasting from the Better Call Badeau podcast studio. And here with my guy, Kevin. Kevin, what's up?
Not much, man. Just, feeling a little demoted, That's all I had.
It is what it is. It is what it is, man.
Hey, no, it's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Listeners, what's up? Shout out to chat. What's up, guys? Thank you guys for joining us. See some of the familiar faces in here. See a couple of new names. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys know why we're here. Saints Talk, official podcast, NewOrleans.Football, and we're here to get into some Saints talk. So let's just jump right into it.
Before we jump into it, are you a business owner needing some guidance with your daily accounting? Daniel Sant CPA can help get your finances in order. They provide relevant accounting information, detailed analysis, and clear communication in a timely manner. Call today, 318-321-2765. Also, check out our guys, Firehouse Subs, great people, do great things in the community. They're on veterans. It's a place to go if you want to get a sub. And then also our newest guy, Tommy Badeau, lawyer. If you need legal help with any of the following: car wrecks, offshore injuries, 18-wheeler collisions, Maritime and Jones Act, hurricane and storm claims, you better call Badeau at 504-323-4777 or 985-677-1085 for your free consultation and case review. Links to all these things are in the show notes. Check them out. Get with our people, and if you got to, you better call Badeau, man.
Well, listen, we hope you don't need them, but
if you do,
yeah. But
and then
if you do,
when you win your case, hit up Sant and celebrate with the Firehouse up.
There you go. Don't be going to seek them out, but you know what I'm saying. You get in the bind, and then we got your man for you. Yeah. So you know what I mean. Don't be causing a little havoc in that. And we don't need no more of that in New Orleans. So. That's probably like my worst little segue that I had there, man. I got to work on that. This is
and happy birthday to the second cutest dog
associated
with the podcast.
Best dog, cutest dog ever, man. Best dog ever.
No, I can see why you think he's the second cutest dog associated with the podcast.
No.
Absolutely.
Crown Prince.
Anyways,
the Crown Prince. Shout out to everybody who show me a little love, show Marley love on his birthday. So listen. If you love Marley, then I love you. And it's that simple. I love Marley more than most humans, not Shane. But all right, guys, Saints talk. Let's get into it. So let's start with the update on the search for assistant coaches for the Saints. So I'm just gonna start on the offensive side of the ball. What's the latest there? I think they interviewed the running backs coach from the coach.
Yeah, Scotty Montgomery. Scotty Montgomery.
Yeah, you reported that they were interviewing him last week, and so that seems like that interview happened. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they interviewed him yesterday, I believe, and the Dallas wide receivers coach Prince. I think they're still looking at some different people, trying to see what's up, see who's out there, see who's available. That there's been some other rumors out there about different guys, but nothing necessarily hammered down yet. So we'll see what they do. I mean, it'll be interesting. They're running their process. It kind of seems like it's going to kind of run a deliberate process for both those positions, and DA is going to take his time and hire the right people. I think one of the challenges, and we talked about this on the members only, is just maybe trying to find people that are capable of running the system that they're most familiar with, and maybe that's not possible, and maybe there isn't a direct Sean Payton disciple, and you look at different ways of doing things and kind of seeing who's out there, and I think at some point you got to start looking at guys that are
Alternatives.
maybe guys that are alternatives, and also guys that you're looking at some guys on the come up right now with like people like Montgomery and Prince and that, and the flip side, maybe you look at people coming down, like they got Morona, O-line coach, that's a major come up. Like I don't know, is like a guy like Jay Gruden available? Like he's got ties to the system in some regards. Like a lot of the Peyton stuff is built on top of
Yeah, John
Gruden-esque
Gruden's.
stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of Gruden influence. So maybe you get a Gruden type guy, a Gruden himself. And we'll see. We'll see what they do. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they fill that one. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think that Sean didn't develop enough coaches. Honestly, like, and it's not a Sean thing. It's that Sean had guys that just stayed on his staff, like
Forever.
really forever. Yeah,
Literally
like.
didn't leave.
Yeah, you hit up like the wiki pages after like some of the guys that DA got rid of it, and they had been there since '06. I mean, it's just kind of what it was, and I think on one hand for Sean, I think that's great because it allowed him to have like such continuity running this offense, a lot of familiarity. Everybody knew exactly what they had to do and everything, but you get into a situation where you want to run that offense and there isn't there just aren't a lot of guys out there. And if you're say Zach Taylor, Zach Taylor's not a great example, but if you're somebody that wants to run Sean McVay's offense, you can go to multiple different teams and grab guys that because there's just that influence there and that spread because it's just young guys going and going and going and going. That just never really happened with Sean. And part of that's having Pete Carmichael just really cool with being an OC. And after Marone moved out and Pete took that job, like there wasn't that pipeline. And Lombardi at QB's coach is usually, the next thing. And he stuck around for a while, left, ended up coming back. Mike New came in, went to Ball State. He's not in the NFL. He's not spreading the system through the NFL. So it just hasn't spread. So I just don't
That's
think
kind
that
of
there's
going
going
to
to
have
be.
like a. I think that's probably going to be something. From Sean's perspective, I guess continuity is good, but like when you think about, and this is not a Sean Payton podcast because he's no longer the head coach, but I mean, it is something when you think about his legacy. It's like as good as an offensive mind as he's considered, like he doesn't really have a tree, right? He doesn't
It's
have like,
interesting. Yeah, it's
yeah,
interesting. And
it's really interesting.
again, I don't think it's because of him, necessarily. It's just that it's just the circumstances of the situation. You just got guys that were cool with what they were doing. Lombardi's out there, he's doing it. So
He's
there's
trying,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, there's one, but I mean, that's it.
I mean,
And
Campbell,
yeah, but I mean, he's not running the Sean stuff,
the offense,
like
so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
So I
mean,
mean, it's kind of fascinating to think about just the way that's kind of worked out.
yeah. This is me speculating only, but Sean Payton he came out and said, I will probably be coaching again one day. I think the minute that he does, I think Pete Carmichael is probably right there with him. You know, that's just what I think. I can see it happening. It's like he takes a step back. The years Sean is off. He doesn't want to be OC. I mean, it just seems like it seems like a move that I could just see happening, right? And that's just like I said, that's just me speculating, but it definitely it's just a little alarming. That's probably the only coach that I can think of who just really never had any aspirations other than work, and which is fine. I'm not saying there's something wrong with it, right? If you like what you like, I respect him for knowing what he want to do and sticking with it. But it is just it's like a unique situation where a guy just is like hey, I'm good where I am. I've actually had coworkers like that, like engineers. It was like, y'all don't want to go any higher because it's more travel, more work, etc.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting at a point in my career where I don't want to pick up more work, right? And so, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, which makes me wonder. Like you got Marone, you have Pete Carmichael on the staff, you have Dan Rashaw on the staff, these guys. And these are Peyton system guys. I mean, theoretically, Doug Marone, if you got an offensive staff, regardless of what the position is or what position they have as assistants, you would think that Doug Marone and Pete Carmichael would be able to run Sean Payton's system, right? That would just be my initial take on the situation, right? If they said, hey, pick two people who can run Sean Payton's system other than Sean Payton? Well, I would have probably said Pete Carmichael and Lombardi, but Marrone would have been someone that would have probably come up on that list at some point too with some other guys. So, it's just interesting. Like, do they really want to run that system because they got the guys in house to do it, or are they trying to do something different? Like, I can't get a clear message. I don't see what the vision is yet. I don't see where they're going with this, because it just doesn't make much sense to me at this point.
I think Marrone's probably good in the position that he's in. And look, that guy is your offensive line coach. That's a massive move. It is. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like, oh, Doug Marrone retread, da da da. Like, dude, if you can get anytime you got a head coach as a position coach, it's a major come up. And look, he's really good. He did a really good job developing guys here before. I mean, the proof is here. People have seen it. So I think that's a great move.
Syracuse. I think Syracuse poached him from the Saints. So yeah, I mean, he was highly thought of. That's why he was gone.
I think his OC though, like I don't know. It's just I'm not sure that I would love that. I think you can do something a little bit different and maybe get a different result or something. But again, like some of these guys are looking at like Montgomery, someone that would be exciting to me. Seeing someone on the come up. I think at some point he's gonna get a job. He's interviewed twice, a couple different places, been a finalist for some jobs around the league. At some point, he's gonna be an offensive coordinator in the NFL.
He was up there in Carolina for one of the guys in Carolina. When I think they hired old McAdoo.
Yeah, and look, I mean, like I said, I've heard some rumors about like some other places are sniffing around. It's nothing strong enough to put out there yet, but I do think that they're looking, and I like the process that's taken place. I like that that they are looking everywhere. On the other hand, like maybe if it were quick, there's someone in mind. Maybe
decisiveness is a confidence booster. I mean, it gets the feeling that you get the feeling like they're on plan B or plan C at this point. I mean, just from the outside looking in, right? I mean, there was talk about Morton and that went away. I don't know if that was true or not or valid or not. Then it seems like Pete stepping down. Was that something that happened?
Morton might have just been wide receivers, though. It might have just been a wide receivers situation with them, and maybe not OC. It was maybe assumed OC, but then CJ gets fired. Morton was the receivers coach here before.
That's fair.
DA was the secondary coach. He'd have a very good understanding of how this guy would coach wide receivers, and he wasn't really in a job. So maybe that makes sense bringing him back. I don't know if they're on plan B or C. It might just be DA runs a very deliberate process, and maybe he has something in mind, and he wants to do his checks and balances to make sure that he's making the absolute right decision. It's just a matter of perspective, honestly. But I think that it's just new coach. You kind of want everything in place right away, so you can kind of see it and evaluate it, and that leads to like a little bit of impatience is. For people like us, especially, that are just sitting back watching, waiting to react to something.
Plan D.
You're just kind of on hold at this point.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. So we'll be watching this space. So I guess they still have yet to fill the offensive coordinator job and the wide receivers, right? So they still have Joel Thomas at running back. I'm guessing Rashard goes back to O-line. I'm guessing, I don't know. And then I guess tight ends. So tight end, wide receiver, and offensive coordinator would be the three off the top of my head that I think would that seem to be open.
Wait, would you say Rashard offensive line?
Dan Rashard, yeah, is he going back to the offensive line from tight ends, or he's
no that's
because Marrone is on offensive line. Yeah, I had a brain fart. Yeah, so just wide receiver and OC. My bad. Yeah, brain fart. So two positions on offense. And just moving over to defense, right? So today they interviewed Michael Wilhoit, who I remember him as a player. I'm like, man, I'm getting old because these guys who used to be players that I watch are now becoming coordinators, like Miko Ryans and Kellen Moore doesn't count. He's young, but it's just like, all right, I'm getting getting there. All right, not fun, but so they interviewed Michael Wilhoit today, who is currently the Chargers linebacker coach at the moment, and they interviewed him for the DC job. So two things I want you to address here. One, just thoughts, if any. And the second thing is, does it say anything about Chris Rashard and Nielsen, that those guys were not, I assumed that they would just promote from within because, Nielsen seems like he was someone that, had some traction some years back. Maybe it slowed this year. And Chris Rashard seems like, he got interviewed for a DC job, and he's probably, you would think that he's on come up again. So it seemed like a logical thing that would happen. What they would promote from the inside, but this is I know it's at least the second. I know they interviewed the secondary coach from the Lions, if I recall correctly, and now Michael Wilhoit. So now it seems like, and again, is it due diligence or is it cause some concern? So thoughts on Wilhoit, and then second question, hey, what's up with? Is it something up with the other two assistants?
It's due diligence, and there are mandates on the type of process that you have to run for coordinators. So I mean,
Mhm.
you got to interview X amount of people. So I
Okay.
mean, if it is inside, not, but regardless, he coached here before. I mean, it's a sign of respect, obviously, that they think this much of him to bring him in
Yeah.
and talk to him and just kind of see, what he can do in if he's a fit. And it's interesting to me that he was one of the guys. Like I was a little bit surprised. I had actually heard that he was around, and I was assuming it was for like
Mm.
a different positional coach role, or
Mhm.
like I didn't know if maybe they were, he was part of the staff, came up. Sometimes you let people
Mhm.
make a lateral move to another team to be with people you're connected to. So I didn't know if it was something like that. Like, okay, are they, promoting somebody, and
Yeah.
Michael Hodges is gonna
Michael
go to
Hodges,
D
yeah.
line, and Will Holt's gonna be, linebacker. Like
Linebacker,
that was
yeah.
kind of my thought process on it. So I was a little bit surprised by that myself. But yeah, I think, it speaks to the impression that he made on DA. He was a defensive assistant on DA's staff, and the fact that he's looking at him
Yeah.
and considering him for that role. I mean, that tells me that if it's not this job, he's not far off from being a coordinator somewhere. People are looking at him and considering him in that type of role. So, that's interesting to me. And
Diego mess around and have a little coaching tree before Sean. He's gonna have a bigger one than if
yeah,
Sean ain't careful. He better hire somebody with some aspirations. He's gonna be
it's crazy.
man. Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's all I got on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So so no concern from you on the coordinator front. Me, I'm just like we'll see. It just seems like it's a little. I don't know. It's just a little dry, right? And just it's just the human side of me, right? And so, yeah, we'll see how this thing turns out. And as we said, I think last week's pod is that me personally, I'm gonna let all this stuff play out, and then we're gonna go back and look at it. And to be honest with you, you really can't look at the staff and be like, okay, well, this is a great move. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
who's gonna Scotty Montgomery OC may have heard of the guy, but it's like if you ask me like what type of offense he runs, I'm gonna probably be like, man, just I can't know what every position coach in the league does and what their system is, right? So it'll be hard to have a take on these guys really unless you just going and doing some in this like who knows how much input the running back coach has in the offense, right? So that's why you do these interviews. And for us on the outside looking in, especially me, obviously is like it's kind of all a guessing game. You kind of got to wait to see some results to get a feel for some of these guys. So but yeah, but it's just interesting, man. It's just seeing the Saints go through this process. It's just like it's just a little different. We're not used to this, so I'm just I'm enjoying it, right? Because it's different, but it's like, it's a little weird too. Not the norm. So
Yeah. And look, it's going to be interesting too, just to see how much these guys fit in with just the current, if you go from outside the program, like you got to find someone that fits in with the coaches that are already on staff. Cause it seems like they're
mhm.
already in place. So,
Mhm.
if you hire Scotty Montgomery, does he mesh with, all the other position coaches on the team? I mean, that's a major factor too. So, they aren't going to have like full control immediately, like, and not that they ever would, but they would
Yeah.
probably typically, I would imagine an OC has more input over his staff than
Yeah, makes
the head
sense,
coach.
makes sense.
Not more input than the head coach, but enough input like to what I'm saying is like I think DA had DA guys for the most part on the defensive side of the ball as a defensive.
Mhm.
He was basically like the coach of the defense.
Yeah, yeah.
Sean ran the offense. He had his guys. I would imagine that you kind of have that same kind of setup on the same, the same deal here. DA's defense, offensive guy comes in, and then, but it looks like, that they are, it looks to me like they are kind of trying to hold on to that staff, have somebody come in, run a West Coast Sean type of offense. And, that leads you back to familiar faces. That probably gives, someone that has some sort of ties to the system a leg up over a Scotty Montgomery or a Prince or somebody else that isn't really from the Sean tree. So, or the Gruden tree, or whatever branches this all stems from.
Bill Walsh, if you want to go far back.
Yeah,
definitely can find a quote from that one, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I think if you trace it back, okay, they're Sean limbs, and you go back to Gruden, or they're Gruden limbs, there are Gruden limbs. So I mean, that kind of leads you there. So just kind of doing that process, it kind of would make some sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Offensively, I could see it having a little bit more leniency. Defensively is the one that's interesting to me because, like, that unit is like, you don't really need to do much on that side of the ball, right? Like, you have the players, you have most of the guys in the positions. You feel like you're somewhat set there. As it pertains to talent. I mean, you got to figure out what you're going to do with Marcus Williams. I don't see how you let that guy out the building. That would be a little shocking to me, but things happen. I mean, they could franchise him again, really. I mean, they franchised him last year, but yeah, it's just defensively is the one that's interesting to me. That, like, I really assumed that they were going to promote from within because that culture set. They know the guys, and so the fact that Michael Wilhoit was an assistant here, it makes sense now because it's like, well, yeah, they know him. That's someone they probably would be comfortable with because he know how those guys work, right? He has some experience with those players, and they probably have a level of comfort with him. But bringing in someone new defensively, to me, it just seems, not the move I would make. But I'm not a coach, obviously. But I would just try to keep that culture and keep that level of consistency and familiarity there as much as possible, just due to the success they had last year on that side of the ball. But if Diaz calling the plays, then I guess
right.
I guess it should be good to go, right? Maybe these guys like, well, I'm just gonna be like the defensive version of Pete Carmichael, right? And so, and not saying that Pete did nothing, but it's just someone who doesn't call plays, right? Which is not it's not as good, right? I mean, if you're trying to move up. All right, so Mike Thomas is locked in. Demon time, okay. He no comment, but do what you do, Mike.
I mean, that's what you want to see, though. Honestly, kind of everything he's doing right now. T-Bob asked me a question this morning on his show, and I thought it was kind of interesting. He was wondering if the CJ, GJ, and Mike interaction was orchestrated in some level, just so people could see that there is no beef and everything's moving forward. I doubt it. I think it was just probably something that CJ just fired off. Mike commented like it's probably an organic thing. It did kind of come from the clouds though a little bit. So I mean, that is interesting. But look, regardless,
that report about Mike just came out too. Like, they're not going to trade Mike on the Super Bowl, and then the next day
we're talking about that the Senior Bowl. That wasn't a new report at all.
Well, yes, you're right, but I'm just saying, like, the big, I think Ian, it's the big Super Bowl morning report. You know how they have all these.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying it was already.
Exactly.
I mean, we had already wrote that he was in for the season and everything, but whatever. I didn't understand why that was like a big deal because it was like out there and everybody local had already like wrote about it, talked about it. So I didn't get why that was a big thing. But regardless, but yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's what you want to see though, and it felt like a full circle moment where it was kind of like had to come back to there for it to go forward because that's where things fell apart for Mike is really that fight with CJ. I mean, obviously the sprained ankle happened before that, but just with the sprained ankle, there wouldn't have been this concern and this talk about, is Mike part of the team? Is he going to be here going forward? All that stuff. It kind of felt like that started with the fight with CJ, the suspension, and then it just felt like everything frayed from there. And it feels like maybe even, and I don't want to put anything on Mike. Like I'm just talking here. Like it just feels like maybe some of the stuff with CJ led to maybe some of the lack of communication that led to maybe not getting the surgery on time. So it just kind of felt like that moment was kind of like the key turning point, where the movie goes from act 1 to act 2. And now they have this first full circle moment and you're in act 3 towards the resolution. And, it just felt like an important moment. And the Instagram thing too, like it just kind of was like a very, very, very clear way of saying like, he's locked in. It's time to get the work, time to, show everybody what he can do. I mean, Kobe's saying those things in the video. I mean, it's not hard to decipher. So it just feels like everything is going in the right direction. You see Mike tweeting at the Saints constantly. I felt like his shot at Eli Apple was kind of a
Pro
way
Saints,
to endear yourself, to the community and everything.
Yeah.
By the way, man, the way people are going at Eli, like
he deserved it. Give it to him.
Like it's crazy though. Like I've never seen NFL players go after like a guy like the way they are so ruthlessly. Like I wonder what he's doing out there that makes everybody just kind of feel like they need to take their shots at him. It's crazy, man.
Bro, he the one, but he shot the first shot. So
he did, but like not so a lot of these. Like he didn't shoot shots at Kansas City. Like it's just crazy to me that it's just like all these different players in the league, and it's just kind of like this.
Maybe everybody knew in the league he was a sucker, and now they finally got a chance to talk about it.
Sure, yeah, no, it's just crazy though. I've never seen anything. I'm not like questioning it. Like I just I want to know like what is he doing? What is he doing to make everybody feel this way?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man, but listen, bro, like. don't play with these Saints fans. Like seriously,
no, this ain't the city you talk trash.
You gonna get songs made about you, like bro. Like that's a lifetime of slander. That like I'm pretty sure no other player. I mean, I remember like when Bud made the song about him, and then the video, and I remember Darius Slade was like, "Bro, like what's going on? Like what did this dude do?" Right? And
they're saying he took shots at Kansas City, so I missed that. I don't understand why he's doing that. I don't get it.
I mean, Eli just for some reason like, listen, bro, like when you trash, like you can't go out there like that though. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you can't be.
The thing is he kind of had a good season. He kind of had a decent season, like for who he is and where he's come from. Like he had a pretty solid season all year, and then he just he had the huge play in the title game. Like it was looking like Eli was kind of like winning the beef, and then he just fell apart completely in the Super Bowl.
Everybody knew Eli was going to Eli eventually. I mean, I just quoted Mike Thomas accidentally. My bad. Eli going Eli, bro. I mean, listen, bro, like. He did it with the Saints. He was good for a little bit. He
was good the whole year, though. Really, honestly, like, and people here can try to talk like they were trying to tell me Eli was better than Eli was, and I was like, yo, they needed another corner. Now Eli's good. So like people here,
he was fine here, yeah, but they didn't.
Nah, he was never as good as people thought he was. He got over.
I mean, he was okay. I mean, they've had worse, right? They've had worse. I'm not saying he was a great corner, but he was okay. Right? I mean, he was surrounded by talent, so I guess that always makes it a little bit easier, but. I mean, at the end of the day, like, bro, he shot the first shot, and now he getting it back.
No, I'm saying I get it, but it's just crazy to see NFL players tee off. It's like the whole league. It's like the whole league, though. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like I've never seen people just tee off on a guy. Like I get like Saints players, I get the city of New Orleans, but it was just like the whole league, and I've never seen anything like that.
He dissed the Giants. He was like, I don't know who's worse, the Giants or like he was feeling he was loose, bro.
I don't understand what he was doing. Like, was he trying to be the bat? Like, did he feel like he needed to build himself into like a villain to be like motivated all of a sudden, like out of nowhere? Like, I just don't get it. Like, he could have
Surviving America gave him some bad advice.
He could have just played it. He could have just played his part, man.
Bruh,
just play your part, and like you aren't even catching the smoke like this. You're a guy that played like you're probably expected to play. That's it.
The thing is like you're Eli Apple.
Right, like if he went out there and played that game and hadn't talked, like it'd just be like,
nobody wouldn't care. Yeah,
he did what he did.
In fact, we would probably been like, man, it'd been, Eli didn't work out here. We glad for you. Like Trey, if Trey would have won the chip, ain't nobody mad at Trey. That Trey Henderson.
People weren't cheering for him, man.
Yeah, it's like, but if Eli would have just shut the hell up, people wouldn't have been like, oh, you know what I'm saying. But now he opened his mouth. War, war. And the thing about it, when you trash, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? If you Revis or you Dion or you even Jalen Ramsey, right? He's flamboyant and he has his energy, but like he could back it up with his play. Like, but Eli, you trash. Like, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Just go out there and be toast, bro. And then you got the nerve to go out there and be trash in the Super Bowl.
Right, it's crazy. I don't understand.
All games, bro. Like,
I just don't understand. Like the whole thing. It was the weirdest thing. Like I just don't understand the motivation at all. Like I say, he had a decent season. I think he just started feeling himself way too much, and it's just like, yo, chill, man. Like, things aren't different. Like you just caught a little streak. I talk about that all the time. Like cornerbacks catch these streaks, and it's like so hard to be good year over year.
17 Crawley, right? All year into the end.
Yeah, and people catch these waves all the time, and it's just like, because it's small samples, and if the difference between a good season and a bad season for a corner is like 8 plays, and if you make those 8 plays, you look outstanding. If you lose those 8 plays, you look horrible. If you exist in the middle, you're just a guy, and I feel like it's just that's the difference every year. And guys like Ramsey, Marshawn, they make those plays. Sometimes Ken Crawley makes them, and then reality catches up, and then you remember. And it was the same way with Eli. Like Eli for a little while here, like you said, he had help. I think he didn't get tested as much. He won more of those 8 plays than he lost. But at some point, it started coming back down to earth. They replace him. He goes off. He catches a wave again, and caught up to him again. And Janoris Jenkins kind of lived on those same margins. Like some years he was up, and then I think he was someone that got overrated here too a little bit. Honestly, like if we're just gonna keep it 100%, but
I mean, the Saints felt that way. They didn't try to keep neither one of them.
Right.
I mean, they knew something. I mean, they're in there watching them. They just happened to be able to bring in that second corner. Crawley was good that year. Eli was good that year. Jack Rabbit was good that year. And now they found the Debo.
Yeah,
right?
we'll see on Debo needs to keep winning.
That's what I'm saying. You got where I was going. You
Yeah.
got exactly where I was going. I was like, well, look, I mean, and he's a rookie. I'm not saying that he's going to Eli route or whatever, but I'm saying like that
cornerback, you just have to keep proving it. Yeah,
you got to keep proving it, man. You got to be. But Eli trash, and he should have kept his mouth closed, and he got what he got, and he's going to be getting it for a lot longer. In fact, he's never going to live that down.
Oh no, it's over for him.
It's forever for him. Like players, fans, every time he tweets something, and I know he's feeling himself because he went radio silent for a little bit. But it's like, man, look, you can't do that, bro. You can't be sorry.
Hey, you should have just played it cool. I just don't like. It was one of the.
That's like me going to the room with Mike Tyson talking smack before the fight. Like, yeah, I'm gonna knock Mike out. Like, bro, that's Mike. Shut up, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's Cooper Kupp, bro. What you gonna do? You're not gonna.
Eli acted like he didn't live here. Like this is not the place to do that, man. Like,
bro, and then like we showed we showed the dude like love, like his mom. She was interacting with the fans. It was all love, and he's gonna go and say what he said about my hometown. So it's like, bro, you get what you get.
all we did is wrote positive stories about that guy, like over and over and over and over. Nobody said anything bad about him ever. The team was good the whole time he was here. There's no reason to write anything negative about anybody. So like I see the family like complaining about the media. The media here never said anything bad about him. The media in Cincinnati's never said anything bad about him because he's been good there. Yeah, they got after him in New York, but like he found his way off the team. He found his way off the team because he was acting, crazy in the locker room. And maybe that isn't totally true, but I don't know. The fact that he ended up off the team as a first round pick pretty quick.
But Nick, if you acting crazy in the locker room and you good, you can get away with it.
Sure. To an extent, sure.
To an extent, but like if you're a top 10 pick and they give up on you that fast, then
yeah, I mean, it lends credence to the talking points. I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying for the last several years, like nobody's really been at this guy like at all. Like he was decent enough. He was on good teams. Nobody was looking for anything. Look, the media like nobody's
y'all nice, bro. Y'all nice, and like
nobody's going after anybody. like not maliciously. We'll say, hey, this guy isn't playing well, sure, but like nobody's like malicious about anything, and it's not like you keep beating up on people or anything like that. I mean, and look, the team's been good for a while. When they were like, okay, the 7 and 9 years, yeah, people were going after a little bit more because
right.
It lent itself to it, and that was what needed to be said. Like this is stuff that's wrong. There hasn't been like a reason to have like an enemy, so to speak.
Bro.
Like there's nothing that. The enemy was injuries last year. You know what I mean? Like, so they just like since 17, there hasn't been anything bad. I mean,
nobody's getting like no media slander like that. It's not like New York. You know what I'm saying? Like New York is different, bro. Philly, New York. You go out there, you have one bad play, they shooting you down. Ain't no. What's the cat that from the dude from the Jets, Manish, whatever. Just super negative reporting. Like he ain't getting none of that here. People treated him fine, and he said he did what he said. So it was like, bruh, take that smoke for life. That's all I'm saying. Just take it for life. So anyway, this is not the Eli Apple podcast. So we will move on from Eli, but y'all keep giving him that smoke though. Just keep, don't hit him below the belt, but just let him know he trash at his profession, and we're gonna be good there. All right, so. moving on, kind of like the last little topic. I was thinking as we were talking about the offensive coordinators, the thing that I'm kind of up in the air about is, and I want to put it the right way. Like they don't know what they're going to be doing at quarterback yet, right? And so, how do you think? Okay, we want to run this system, right? This is the system we want to run. Like, how do you think that plays into the quarterback decision? Are they going to say, is it like, okay, well, these are the traits that we want for a quarterback, and if they can't run this system, well, these are the coaches we got. We don't want the quarterback, or like, how does that play out? Like, if you run the Sun system, well, what if that's not the
Uh,
system for? What I mean, it's like, is it that adaptable? I mean, it seems like and I've seen it talked about, so I just kind of want us to address it. But it's like, um, how does the coaches and the system that they want to run fit into, like, what if you get a rookie quarterback? Then what do you do with that system?
I think if you get a coach who can't adapt to the talent, you probably got the wrong coach. So, I mean, I think you just get the best quarterback you can get, and if you have a coach that doesn't know how to use the talent, he's probably not a very good coach.
Do you think that any coach should be held to that standard in the NFL regardless? Or is that like, I understand that if Sean is there, even the high level offensive coordinator, but if you got a guy that's going from a running back coach, and I'm just picking on Scott Montgomery here. I'm not saying anything about him. We can name him Billy Davis for just a anonymous name. But like, if he's been coaching in one system his whole career, and that's what he knows, modifying the system that coaches coach what they know, right? So just changing the system because the talent doesn't fit it is not always as simple as just changing it because you just know one system.
Yeah, I just like I think that's probably the trait of a good coach though. And if you can't make adjustments to make things fit the players that you have, I just don't think that you're going to be a very good coach, and I don't think you're going to last very long. And you need to be adaptable. And I think that's probably the hallmark of every good coach in the league. And
Mm-hmm.
y- if you end up with Teddy Bridgewater and you can't figure out how to run a system for Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, you're just probably not a very good coach, and you probably shouldn't be the offensive coordinator to begin with. So I think that they just got to set out in this offseason, especially in the situation that they're in. Like, you just have to get the best quarterback you can possibly get and then figure it out from there. And, it's like Sean said
Yeah.
all the time, like, at the end of the day, like, the quarterbacks played from the pocket, and there's only a couple guys that I think are outside of that. And even then, like, Lamar Jackson's making more throws from the pocket than outside of the pocket. So if you can't play from there and your system doesn't work, I mean,
You
I
have a
don't, I
very
just,
short leash as a
yeah,
quarterback in this.
I don't know what you're doing as a coach, and if you can't figure that out, I mean, there's not that many guys out there that are just that crazy that you can't have them fit a general system and teach
Mm-hmm.
them it. But obviously, yeah, some guys are better in some style of offenses than other, and if you get a quarterback that's succeeds at the quick game and you can't scheme up the quick game for him, like, what are you doing? And I don't think that's a major concern. I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, you have your coordinator in place and you have your pick of quarterbacks, and you can get the right guy for that guy, and there is that perfect marriage. But until
Mm-hmm.
you find that, I think that
You got to
any
be ready
any
to take
coach
chances.
that's halfway decent is going to be able to figure out how to make it work with the guy in a bridge type of situation, and you
Yeah.
get through it until you get the perfect player for your system.
Yeah. Yep. 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 No, I agree. I agree. I was just playing devil's advocate, just because I've seen it. It's like, okay, well, how does that play in with the quarterback? And I'm like, well, let's talk about it on Saints Talk. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I will say this. They were saying that they were going to explore our avenues for quarterback, and I guess A-Rod looked like he might be staying in Green Bay. We'll see what happens there. Derek Carr seems like he's going to be in Raiders. So those, all this talk about quarterbacks leaving, but when it's really time for a team to get rid of a quarterback,
Never happens.
it's a lot easier said than done, man. It's a lot easier said than done. So, it just may end up being a case where they have to go via draft, right? We'll see. Unless Russ forces his way out, he's someone that's obviously, that's been talked about here. And then Colin Moore's got his little thing going on now. No way they let him go. He's going to be their quarterback, is my guess. So, yeah. But we'll see. I guess in the next couple, usually before free agency is when like those rumors, if I remember correctly, how those rumors started to come out. So in the next month or whatever, just keep your ears peeled.
Yeah, if there's anything going on here, I mean, the rumors are going to start coming out at the combine. Everybody's together. Everybody's in hotel bars and actual bars and
drinking together.
It's just everybody's just sitting around talking, and everybody's trying to burn 9 hours a day of just idle time. So things start coming out. It'll be a little bit different though, because one of the guys that was often holding court at these places is no longer an NFL head coach. So the Saints aspect of this, I'm guessing, is going to be a lot quieter than usual, and also like a nice change. Like, I think he's just going to talk in the normal setting. Whereas, there were years that you just wouldn't talk to any Saints people because they just didn't want to talk to anybody there. And you'd spend the whole time, look, nobody cares about this, but like there were years like we would spend the whole combine like chasing around, Sean trying to get him to talk, and he just wouldn't talk. And it was just like, come on, man. Like, this is ridiculous. Just 5 minutes. And, nothing was there. But yeah, I think I would expect DA to be, I'm sure people that watch it, they, everybody's up at the podiums except for Belichick and Sean. Like I'm kind of expecting DA to be at a podium. And if not, I think something will be scheduled. But yeah, I think it's going to be, just a little bit friendlier at first, give us some time. Maybe we wear him out and it ends up in the same place. But, starting out, yeah.
Be a little calm. Yeah. Usually, maybe those new coaches, they play by the book early, and then they start feeling themselves a couple of years into.
Yeah, once you earn it, you can though. Yeah,
you can do that. Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever be like that. I mean, he's just kind of like he's just
kind of boring.
Nah, it's just
but nice, in a good way though.
Nice. I'm not saying Sean wasn't nice, but nice.
Sean wasn't always nice. Sean wasn't always nice. No, let's keep it real. No, he's gone. We can say what we want. Sean was not always nice, bro.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean they put a picture of this man's face being mad when he was suspended for a year. Like Sean wasn't always nice. And hey, by the way, guys, I didn't mention Jameis. I think someone said I'm avoiding Jameis. I'm not avoiding Jameis. He's not a Saint. Like he's with the rest of the free agent quarterbacks. He might be a Saint, he might not be. I'm treating them all the same.
Right.
And Taysom Hill is the only, him and the rookie Ian Book. They're the only Saints on the quarterbacks on the Saints roster. So
it'll be interesting to see what he wants to do, man. Like honestly, like
his might not want to come back to the Saints. I said that, bro.
Right. Like I mean, everything's different now. So yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows how it's going to play out? I mean, I wouldn't. If you're Jameis and you're looking at it, they got Mike Thomas, a running back that's going to be suspended, a left tackle that's possibly on his way out of town, no offensive coordinator.
Sean Payton's gone.
Yeah.
The reason that you went to the Saints and you wanted to come and get rehab. So yeah, I mean, I've been saying it for years. I could see him wanting to be in Pittsburgh. To me, it just seems like a fit for him. I don't know. I mean, it's like it's cold. It's outside. He's got the arm. I could easily see him in Pittsburgh. I think there was some talks about him potentially going there when he signed for the Saints. So that's just been the team I've always looked at for him. But we'll see what happens.
The main drawing card for him really was continuity, knowing the system, not having to start over, and being able to hit the ground running. And if that's not there, if they're running a different system, he's got to relearn it. I mean, you got to look at everything on a level ground, and his decision could change. I mean, I think there's probably still a lot of appeal here. Like you're going to have a very good defense. You aren't going to have to play hero ball. There's probably only going to be a couple games in the season where, it's kind of ride or die, live or die with the quarterback. Yeah. So, I mean, I still think that it's an advantageous situation if you're trying to go somewhere and be in a position, in a role where you can avoid mistakes, which I still think is extremely critical for him. And by the way, if he threw the interception that Stafford threw in the Super Bowl, oh my God. Yeah. Like everybody it would have been it for him. I mean, this is
crazy. It would have been crazy. It's a double standard.
Oh yeah. Big time.
Double standard. I will say this last thing. I do want to apologize for the legend Blake Bortles. They signed him to a feature quarterback.
He is on the team.
My bad, Blake. And with that said, the Pelicans look like they're trying to come back. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank chat, man. We had quite a few people in here. So it's off season and people are excited to hear us talk. So I appreciate that, man. I read chat. You guys say stuff. I respond to it. We just thank you guys for supporting us and you can support us another way. If you're not already doing it, you can sign up on that link right down there. NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. Shout out to our sponsors. We appreciate the support.
Daniel Sant, Tommy Badeau, Firehouse Subs.
So yeah, man, check them out. We serious about our sponsors. We not only climb, we the player president. We try them out, except he ain't been in trouble yet.
Not Tommy yet, though. I haven't had to sue anybody, but if I do,
but we'll see. Yeah. Give me a couple of weeks and we'll be able to talk about that. We're not out the woods yet, bro. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for listening. You guys be safe. We'll see you next week. We out.